Dungeon Flippers is amazing. I am contributing to its spirit bomb. I need this to succeed. I need it so big it becomes standard in every legally questionable pinata lineup. I want every entrepreneur with a t-shirt press to carve out a section for Dungeon Flippers. But if we want this show to get big enough that we can start collecting bootleg merch, we'll have to buy the real stuff first. So Dungeon Flippers describes itself as a fantasy real estate show. It's like if Dungeons & Dragons went on HGTV, and it's brimming with fun and optimism. It's very in love with the creative process in a way that's incredibly unique, but it never gets pretentious. Dungeon Flippers is able to articulate how the creative process can both be something very isolating, but also a tool for connecting with others. It was beautiful. I loved it. I love that this show had no overt villain, and has a great message about neurodiversity. And yeah, that sounds corny, but this show has a surprising amount of restraint for a musical. It can get quippy, it can get dark, but it knows exactly where to pull back so the audience isn't bombarded. By the way, I think the target audience for this is D&D guys. I'm a few meta more short of a polycule to properly enjoy board games, so I'm not totally sure here. I'm definitely more for the flipper side of Dungeon Flipper. My Instagram feed is exclusively reserved for imagery of hotels I can't afford and luxurious living spaces. So I always appreciate it big time when media uses personal space to convey a character's personality. It is not necessarily an indicator of low skill if a show has a more generic home design. When I see a character living in default clip studio room, I usually assume the artist didn't have the time or the budget to liven up the setting. Sometimes a generic space does the job just fine. Either because the character themselves is an ordinary guy, or because the character's only going to be in their room for one page before they answer the call to adventure. But when I do see a show with extra details that feels kind of off, it sends me down a dark spiral. One of my most pedantic nitpicks has to be from the 2016 anime Orange. It's a shoujo anime where the protagonist gets letters from her future self. With this information, she learns to be more assertive and stop her classmate from buying a ticket to Greenland. It's been a few years since I watched it, so apologies if my analysis is a little hazy. But I remember the show being very sentimental and having the attitude of the world is beautiful and life is worth living. The manga's environment looks like standard shoujo manga backgrounds, and that's not to wholesale dismiss Takano Ichigo. I dig their art style, and their color illustrations are very soft and dreamy. But the anime adaptation of Orange definitely brought a lot more sparkle to its environments. It sells its message of optimism and love of life by making their world look beautiful. So that's why this moment hurt me so much. I still remember, episode 9 of Orange, the series fell apart. There's a brief shot of Ponytail Girl's room, and my reality crumbled. And you might think, oh, well, that doesn't look too different from the stuff you were just showing. But I want you to look harder. She has a framed picture of bread on her wall, and I want to know why. Yes, her dad runs a bakery, and she's pretty proud of this. She likes having the carb hookup and handing out bread to all of her friends. It's a big part of who she is. But why is this what's on her wall? Did she see the stock art of pastries and think, God damn, that's classy. This is what's gonna tie the place together. I could maybe see this if she's decorating a kitchen, or if your man cave is a one-to-one recreation of a Subway restaurant. But a bedroom? No way. Even if you like bread and baking, it's such an odd design choice, especially since she's more into the emotional connections that come with food. She's proud of her dad for being such a good baker, and she likes sharing with her friends. I think with her personality and interests, she'd be more likely to adorn her room with pictures of friends and family. But I guess bread is her new best friend. And, okay, let's look at it from the animator's perspective. Most of the show takes place at school, and you don't see this character's room outside of a couple of scenes. This isn't going to make a huge difference in how people are enjoying this series. They wanted to add a little more personality to this room, so wham, bread. Anime is made on tight budgets and even tighter deadlines, so if you're going to cut corners on a background, this specific instance would be the time to do it. It's not even a bad background, it's just this one poster that I specifically dislike. Thinking of it from the meta perspective still wasn't able to satiate me. I still couldn't stop wondering, what kind of person would do this? This is someone who's going to come down with Paris syndrome in 10 to 15 years' time. I'd imagine their croissant-based poster would look a little more whimsical. If you're more into a how-it's-made style autism for bread, a crisp shot of a field of wheat or an industrial blender would be a little more aesthetic. Is there really nothing else that this chick wanted to frame and hang on her wall? Was Saria out of Live Laugh Love posters and she settled on the bread one? Is she over her BTS phase, so she trashed that poster and haphazardly replaced it with the first poster she could find? The fact that it's framed is what really trips me up, like I'm imagining this chick getting the stud detector and securing the world's worst poster on her wall before she snaps a pic and sends it to her group chat full of other guys who are a little too into Wonder Bread. And then, years later, I found it. I found who would do such a thing. I was doom scrolling through the Panera Bread subreddit, personally hurt and damaged by the fact that they took away the charged lemonades. Now if I want to cheaply overcaffeinate while I'm in America, I need to drink coffee? Fuck you, Panera, I said through tears, but I was unable to walk away. Maybe they could change, and I searched their subreddit for a sliver of hope. And that's where I saw it. There was a surprising amount of threads showing off Panera Bread posters that Redditors scored during their dumpster dives. But these were more of an ironic thing, like, hey, isn't this pretty weird? Definitely scores unique points, and it's a funny way to show your chaotic side. I don't believe this anime chick specifically would do that. But I was satiated now having organically encountered an actual human on this planet who proudly displayed a generic picture of bread on their wall. And Dungeon Flippers is cool because it's not going to have this problem. It's a show very aware of domestic environment and interior design. The show revolves around how different people interact with their environments and the unique relationships we have with personal space. The show heard my lonely taper cry as I stood puzzled at Orange 2016, and their beautiful manticore waifu said, "Don't worry, buddy. My cartoon promises you won't be hurt by all this." And all of the characters' interior design choices make sense. It's perfect, 10 out of 10. Please join their Patreon and buy all their toys. Thank you.